Hello, and welcome to this session of Thriving in the Next Normal. I'm Mina Oraibi. I'm the editor-in-chief of The National, and I'm delighted to be here at the Louvre Abu Dhabi in the most beautiful of settings to discuss a topic of beauty, of opportunity, and of open possibilities, and that is the digital worlds and creativity superheroes. Technology, the modern era, and of course, COVID-19 have changed how we interact with culture, particularly how young people interact with culture in its various forms. But it's a dynamic change, an exciting one. And we're here to discuss where we are today and where we'll be going, and one of the best opportunities for you as young people to seize upon. So, as we look at the UAE cultural and creative industries, we have to take into account that the creative industries and cultural sectors comprise the creative economy, which is estimated to be worth 2.25 billion US dollars. With that in mind, we think about where the UAE sits in, and we probably have the best person to talk about it, Her Excellency Noura Kaabi, who is UAE Minister of Culture and Youth. We also have with us, far away but quite close to us, Director of Google Arts and Culture, Amit Sood, who is in London but here in spirit with us at the Louvre Abu Dhabi. Welcome both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Your Excellency, I'd like to start with you, and I'd like to ask you how you see creativity and digital technologies creating new opportunities.
Right now, we're looking at it. What drives the economy as a strong arm, and looking at the CCI and the creative sector and the cultural sector in the UAE, it does affect the economy numbers. And this is a number that we're working on in a federal perspective, because we're working on a strategy, a 10-year strategy, to look at the way of measuring such sector, the way of looking at stakeholders, of the importance of creating jobs. We're anticipating more than 15,000 job creation in the sector. What are we going to encourage the future generation to look into? By having this year as the year of creative economy, we are hopefully during Expo are going to have the second World Conference of Creative Economy. I believe in this conference is the conference that we're going to announce our strategy, how we're measuring the sector, and third of all, how we're having our cultural heroes on a global pedestal, as it's a sector that dictates how a country or how a nation or how a region is perceived.
That's very exciting when you talk about superheroes, cultural superheroes, because quite often we don't get to see them in that light. You know, we think, okay, someone's been really creative and they were able to achieve something, but we don't necessarily see them as breaking barriers. What do you think makes a cultural superhero?
We announced our talent visas, the golden visa. We announced our talent citizenship in the country that looks into the talent policy as well. And that focus is a focus to celebrate the diversity, that a cultural hero, not necessarily to be a local or an Emirati hero. It's an Emirati and a resident of the UAE who embodies the ethos of UAE as a nation, which are really synced with our universal values.
Thank you. Amit, I'd like to turn to you. When we're talking about the digital transformation that the world is witnessing and creative industries, we have to think of Google and the work you've done to make culture, to make art accessible to people pre-COVID-19 times, but really that's when people turned and wanted to access that beauty and culture. So I want to ask you about that journey.
So for us, the intention was really to create more of an access equal platform where, anybody anywhere in the world is able to create that desire by accessing a piece of cultural information. Now, obviously, we had no idea when we were doing this that, there would be a time when, these amazing museums and partners of ours would be, shut, and you would need to turn to digital. to experience it. So what we are seeing is that the hunger that we have seen over the last 12 months, where people are actually wanting to engage with museums, wanting to engage with art, and not just museums, I would say any kind of cultural content or something that can inspire, something that can educate, has been fantastic to see. We have seen tremendous traffic coming from countries around the world, people interested to interact, to learn, and I guess just get a little bit of a respite from some kind of a cultural interaction.
And that respite, as you say, is partly about shared experiences. And be it on, Google Hangouts, or be it on any of the other platforms where you can actually bring people together when they can't be there physically.
These shared experiences, they can happen virtually, but they might be in multiple formats. So obviously, video is the traditional. You could get on a hangout, you could discuss a work of art, you could travel, walk it through a museum on Google Arts and Culture. But we're also seeing a lot of appetite for people to have shared experiences using augmented reality, where you're able to project into your living room a work of art from Brazil or from France, and you're able to have a discussion with the person you're living with, your family members or your kids. So I think new technologies like augmented reality and gaming, which I think is one of the big areas where museums and art and culture will embrace, because it allows people to interact irrespective of which location they are and have a shared experience.
Your Excellency, where you're sitting and looking at this 10-year plan, there is uncertainty at the moment, but what are some of the fundamentals that make you think I can actually plan according to these fundamentals?
We are in uncertain times, yet if you imagine yourself back 20 years ago with such a pandemic happening, I think we would have struggled in terms of how can we experience, let's say, culture the way Amit just described. Specifically here in the UAE, we do have the advancement in terms of technology, connectivity, networks. We have a Ministry of Artificial Intelligence. We have a mandate. We have a vision for that. We're looking at, with the recent announcement of having the government more lean and focused. His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid focused on having more than 50% of our services to go online. So this is where we're just taking out all of our physical activities and our services and face-to-face and looking into digital. Mina, you look at art, you look at dancing, theater, poetry. Those are all kind of pre-modern historical talents before digital. Right now, how can digital be an accessory? So while I was working to this interview, the Louvre Museum team were telling me how virtual exhibitions are supporting our students because there are no students' tours. So this is where it's not the full experience yet. I agree. You can't quantify a feeling towards a music or a food or a play. You can't quantify it. Yet you can guarantee the continuity of it and how it can thrive.
Hello, my name is Hussein Freijeh. I'm the General Manager of Snapchat in the Middle East and India. It's a pleasure meeting you all virtually. The pandemic massively changed the way people produce and consume content. During the pandemic, we've seen a major need for people to communicate with their friends and family. As well, we've seen a major need to find trusted sources for news. News now is about our well-being and the well-being of our friends and family, and that is extremely important for people. Naturally, people went to social media to try to find tools to allow them to meet with their family and friends even virtually and find trusted sources. We believe in the role of the camera in playing a transformative role in people's lives. The camera started as a piece of hardware that allowed us to take pictures and videos of moments that are very important to us. Then the camera evolved into a connected software that allowed people to visually communicating together, allowing them to have more emotions and experiences shared together. Now and in the future, the camera will play a key important role in being a utility that allowed people to experience the world around them in a way better way. It could be a utility that allows people to consume as well. One example would be through your camera, you could scan a product and be able to purchase it. You could scan a plant that you liked and know what that plant is and where you can buy it. And the opportunities are unlimited in that. I'm really excited about that. So for you all in the Majlis, if I want to give you one advice, is focus on three things. Your passion, but it's not only about passion. It's about making sure you choose a passion that you know will make an impact. And if you have both, you have to be extremely patient, because building a career will take time. The world is changing around you and you have to keep learning. So with passion and focus on impact and being patient, I am sure you can get to the career ambitions that you want to get to. It's been a pleasure talking to you virtually, and I hope one day we can talk to each other face to face. Good luck for the day and see you around.
Look in terms of what do I really want to do, whatever the field of activity I will be doing, and focus on it. Not just one skill, but a skill or two. I feel the future is more of multidisciplinary, and I think if there was a focus on more than my specialization and another one, that would be something that I would definitely pursue. Being ahead of trends and what's new, I would read more. I would explore a new kind of set of skills if I could have.
Amit, you describe yourself as a technologist first, and of course now you're in the world of arts and culture while combining those skills. So if you could look back and tell your 18-year-old some advice, what would it be?
To try to pay a little bit more attention to the past and to history, because when I was young, I kind of was told, always look at the future, be obsessed with your future, and having Indian parents, it was either become a doctor or an engineer, so I think there was a lot of future kind of focus. And I learned over the last few years that actually you can probably be much better at creativity, at business, at your skill set, if you perhaps respected and gave history a little bit more attention in life.
So what piece of advice did you get as a young person that really checked out, that was really the right piece of advice? Could you give us an example?
Well, yeah, I do have a piece of advice that my mother gave me after my first week of work. So I just graduated, and for me, I felt that, I don't know, work is not yet something that I was ready for. Why is it, she asks, and I say, because I feel that, there's not that much of things to do. And she asked me a question, she said, are you waiting for work to come to you? And of course, I didn't have a response. And she said, no, you have to go and look for work. And if you feel that there's a half an hour outside of your break time that you're doing nothing, you go and learn something that will help you during your work. So the piece of advice is you need to be serious in terms of what you do, accountable of what you do.
Amit, if I can ask you, what piece of advice were you given when you were younger that really has helped you as you get older?
If you're young and you're setting out on your journey in life, whether it's for business or career, whatever you're trying to do, you're gonna have to experiment, and you're not gonna nail it at the first go. And I think a lot of people seem to have the notion that I'm gonna be this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna have a 10-year plan, I'm gonna be a X net worth by this. It doesn't work like that. And I think you get hit by turbulence, and you're gonna have to roll with it.
We tried to benefit from the pandemic, from this new world, and we created tools that allow creators, be it musicians, podcasters, or hosts, to create their own shows within the platform easily and even monetize those. So yes, the pandemic helped in this and accelerated this habit. We never imagined that people would pay for a ticket and watch a concert. We've done that. And also we're enabling every person to become a radio host or a live DJ within the platform. And this is something that we had in plans, but with COVID, this has been accelerated. In terms of the future of new media, we believe that audio emerged in a very strong way, and this is our specialty. We always believe that audio has potential, and with the latest success of Clubhouse and with the booming trend of podcasts, audio is proving to be more and more essential. Our move to the UAE, particularly to Abu Dhabi, is because we believe that the infrastructure has been built in the UAE, the ecosystem and the incentives that we have been given by the Abu Dhabi government through ADIO has been very important for us and will be in line with our next stage of growth. We want to be closer to the ecosystem, to the core market, and of course the access to capital in Abu Dhabi is very essential. Talent is here, and we believe that this is the best place to be in. I believe that the UAE is lucky to be in such an amazing country. What's been built by the leadership of the UAE is phenomenal. As far as we're concerned, we've been able to grow to much bigger than what we have ever thought of because of this economy, because of this ecosystem, because of how modern and how progressive is this country. Impossible is really nothing. It is possible. Don't ever think that you need a lot of resources to do what you have in mind. Be hungry about, be focused, be local. We know our region and our culture more than anyone else, but be ready to sacrifice. And I'm sure that whatever is available in this country is all what you need to make it happen.
So for the students listening to us now, if you had to give them advice for the types of skills they should seek out, the experiences they should get, what would you say to them?
I would say be creative in the way you look into what you're studying and be critical about it. Be open to new ideas, explore challenging ideas, explore ideas that are against your ideas. Try not to be in one bubble. That echo chamber of everyone speaks the same language, the same songs, the same way of wearing a t-shirt. Try to be different. And if you don't want to be different, try to think different.
Amit, what are your words of wisdom for young students listening to us now?
Of course, digital skills are important and you need to develop them. But remember, digital skills will not get you far enough if you do not develop your communication skills and how you actually interact with people, your interpersonal skills. Let's say you're a startup and you want to get your company going. You're going to have to go to investors. You're going to have to raise funding, and for that, you're going to have interpersonal skills. You're going to have communication skills.
So thank you for sharing your advice with us and your experiences with us. And of course, thank you to the Mohammed bin Zayed Majlis for Future Generations, and thank you for tuning in. Ultimately, we can learn a lot from history, but it is the next normal. So we can be best suited to the next normal if we're adaptable and able to hone in on our skills. Thank you very much.